um, robust, full of energy, no chop up, no doctor know what we look like. Left my beautiful island of Jamaica to come to this country. My first stint, about 2 years or 3 years after I came here, I tore my ACL, so they gave me a surgery in my left knee. Little after that, I got gallstone, so they gave me a surgery here, sir, right? Little bit later, I got breast cancer. So they did a lumpectomy. And then they did mastectomy and reconstruction. So a lot of people wearing all sorts of false things, but nobody wear false like me because I wear false teeth, false breasts. That's everything. Then after the thing, I did a knee replacement on the left, and then in the end of March, 30th of March, I did another knee replacement on the right. Oh, wow. So hence I'm using my cane. But my husband will tell you when I'm performing and in my element, I don't feel pain. When I go home, I throw all the pain on him. I'm alive and I give God thanks for it. After my breast cancer in 2011, and I did my first surgery December 23rd. And while recovering, I spoke to my doctor, Dr. Tracy Asano, and I told her, I said, Dr. Asano, I need to do something to give back. Even if I could purchase a needle, the needle that you use on me and throw away, so that somebody else can get that a new needle to use, I would be happy. So I started an organization called Miss Letna Healing Home, and I was going to do like an annual gala. But then I said, no, there are too many fundraising galas going on and not a lot of brunches. So I decided to do it in the form of a brunch, and I did it like every first Sunday in April or the last Sunday in March, depends on where Easter falls. I don't do it on Palm Sunday because there's an organization, St. Thomas Healthcare, they have their brunch on that Sunday. So for respect for each other, and they're doing it much longer than me, I don't want to go into their market. Because as Jamaican against Jamaican is the same audience. You can't.
They're a sponsor for this event.
And they're one of the sponsors for this event. So I do my event, I raise funds, I've given over $50,000 to Scarborough Hospital Network. I've given over $11,000 to $11,000 to the Jamaica Cancer Society for the mammogram program. How I got to do that?
Canadian dollars.
Yeah. 10,000, 11,000 Canadian dollars. How I got into the Jamaica Cancer Society thing. I went to Jamaica on vacation, my daughter and I. And going back to the airport, I was listening to RGR and I heard they had this big thing up at Jamaica Cancer Society. And I called a friend of mine and I said, "Where's Jamaica Cancer Society again?" And she told me. And my daughter said, "Mom, the plane is gonna leave you." I said, "No," I said, "God will make it delay." So I turned back and I went to Jamaica Cancer Society. Good thing we left early enough, you know. And I met Yulette Gordon. And honestly, when I was talking to her, she was probably saying, "Who is this woman? I really don't have time for you because we have this event going on, this free mammogram thing." And I kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and she didn't pay me no mind. So somebody from RGR, I went to the lady from RGR and Love FM, and I told him what I was doing. So they gave me an interview right there and then. And when I came up here, I kept calling Jamaica Cancer Society, and nobody would respond to me. So I did my second brunch, and I took $1,000 out there to them. And I said, "I came here last year when you were having your mammogram program, and I look at the ladies who sat around the place with their faces long and worrying about," I decided to do that. And I said, "Here's the first $1,000 to help women who come in to do their free mammogram." And now we have a beautiful relationship. Even if I don't have, last year I didn't have an event because of COVID, I had a walkathon. And I gave them 500 Canadian dollars for it, because I usually give them anywhere between $100 and $1,500, between $500 and $1,500. So I still give them. You know what I mean? I did not do an event this year, but I'm going down there in a few months, and I'm going to give them a $500 check because the women in Jamaica need it. They would leave from all crevice and corner and come here from 2, 3 o'clock just to get a free mammogram. And when I see here in Canada, the only thing I paid for was my tamoxifen and my letrozole tablets. And Trillium covered it about 70 or 80%. Trillium covers it. So literally it didn't really cost me not much. And when I look and see women in Jamaica, to go and get a mammogram is for $3,000 to $5,000. And if they're to go and do a biopsy, it's another $5,000 to $10,000. And if it's a surgery, God help them. So women are suffering in Jamaica. So I would like to implore you, if you have, donate to the Jamaican organization. There are some Jamaican nurses here. Talk to them and find out who you can donate to a cause in Jamaica, because the women need it. The healthcare in Jamaica, I said I would love to go home to Jamaica tomorrow morning, but when I call 911, which is 119 in Jamaica, my ambulance is supposed to be by me within 5 or 10 minutes. Don't ask me who dead or if anybody bleeding. You know what I mean? Or if an ambulance come, you have to pay them. I took my husband from where the hospital from Oakwood named the Adventist Hospital. Andrews to university. And it cost me 9,000 Jamaican dollars. He spent a day in Andrews in emergency, and it cost me over $100,000 for that day. Because every time he was to go and do a test, he was dehydrated and they couldn't find out what happened. And every time he was to do a test, you have to pay. When I told the receptionist, listen, I have money at the house, cash where I was, which was like 20 minutes. To the test, she said, no, we have to get the money first. We had to go to the credit card. Took him from there after I made some noise and took him to university. And every test that he did at Andrews, he had to do them again at university. And I said, why don't you communicate? He had to do them, and it costs another $100,000. You know what I mean? And the nurse or the young doctor who was interning from one of the islands wanted to keep him for. I said, keep what for 2 weeks? I said, let him out now, let me get him back to Canada. I'm going back to Canada Monday and I ain't leaving him down here. For what? And Jamaica is my country. But the health system in Jamaica is deploring, and it costs too much. People shouldn't have to be paying so much for health in Jamaica and education. So if you can support the Jamaica health system, please do. I also wrote a book because I wanted to get here early, which the GPS took me all over town, called Miss Letna versus Breast Cancer, which I talked about my ordeal with breast cancer. And I like to make my breast cancer talk very funny. I don't want to make people feel fearful when I'm talking about my breast cancer. How I found out I had breast cancer, I was supposed to do a medical. And I'm going to be very funny and comical with this. This is not the performance. I was supposed to do a medical, and I missed the date. I did the medical, I was supposed to go and do a mammogram, and I missed the date. So the morning I was going to the office, I said, oh my gosh, I missed it. So I called and they said, come in. So when they came in, they put me on the table, and start the mammogram. Now I used to mammogram. I do mammogram every year. But all of a sudden, them start to dance around me and carrying on and squeeze out the breast, and them squeeze this, and then she said, no, this one is all right. And I said, what is wrong? Why are you squeezing so? But it's from mammogram to ultrasound, mammogram to ultrasound. And the technician came in and said, tell me, why are you guys dancing around my breast like this? Tell me. She said, no, we just want to make sure everything is okay. The evening, my doctor called me and said there is some unusual development at the 3 o'clock section of my right breast. So I said, doctor, I didn't know that my breasts have different section and clocking here. She said, that's how we do it. She said, 3, 6, 9, 12. So it was at this side, not the 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock is that
One of them, this side, the 9 o'clock section. So I am to go and do a biopsy. So I went to the hospital, did the biopsy. A week later, I got a call from the nurse, say, come. But when you come to see Dr. Asana today, bring a trusted family member or a close friend. And I said, Lord Jesus. So I called a friend of mine who had cancer Marcia Brown, what you don't know Marcia Brown, but she never told anybody. Never. And I told her what was going on, because she's my very good friend. And she said, Letna, it's nothing. Let me just tell you that because she didn't want to get me scared. And I was in a store and I think I collapsed when I heard that. And the guy asked me at the store, what is wrong? And I said, it's so like my mother did again in the boat. So I went to the office and I to him, he was there alone. And I went and I said, Arnold, I don't know, but something, and let me tell you something. You see, all of them news in my head, diarrhea take me same time. So when I went to the office, I rushed to the bathroom. So I left him down there and I went to the Dr. Asano. So when she put me, she sit down in her chair. And she said, sit down. And I sit down. And I had my daughter with me. She was about 25 or 24 at the time, doing her master's. And she pushed a box of napkin in front of me, which was very unusual. So I said, what that for? She said, you're going to need it. And you believe me, the little Chinese woman looked straight in my 2 eye, not a blink. You have cancer. I said, what? She said, you have breast cancer. Well, listen to me now, no? That was on my mother's birthday, right? And my mother died about 10 years, that was 2011. Yeah, she died 10 years. So I just look at, and I said, Clinda, I call her Clinda, you know, you grew up with your mother, you say Aunt Linda, Aunt this, the Aunt Linda turned to Clinda, eh? And I said, Clinda, what are you doing here? I said, go back home. Nobody invited you. How you find place? I said, I ain't going nowhere with you, so go home. So if you come for me, go back. And my daughter said to me, Mom, don't worry, we will fight. And I called my husband, and he said, you okay? And I said, I was about to say, I have, and Dr. Sana asked me if he's alone at the office. So I said, yes. She said, where's the office? And I told her. So she said, don't tell him anything. But when I came home, and I opened the door, and I ran into his arms and I started crying. He looked me in the eyes and he said, it's cancer. And I said, yes. And he said, I'm scared. I'm literally scared. And I said, we'll work through this. We went and sat in the family room and we prayed. And my daughter left and went to church and she prayed.